All right, everyone, now we have to talk about Bubba Bill yet again. This is the third time in 3 days that we have to talk about something fucking dumb that Bill Clinton does. First, he says basically, and the mainstream media avoided talking about this because it was totally indefensible. Then he makes a second, even worse gaffe, so, they're like, oh, fuck, we're going to have to defend him. He talks about Obama and how he was treated with deference by the media because of his race. Again, if Trump had said this, there would have been so many people marching on the White House lawn by now if Trump had said this. But because it's Bubba Bill, they give him a pass. They don't even talk about it. People are none the wiser. Then he says, of course, well, no, I don't need to apologize to Monica Lewinsky. I'm a victim too. Now, the neoliberals invite him on the Colbert show. They get him up on there and he says, well, I want you to have a good time here, Bubba. I'm your friend, but please, here, you can have a do-over of your statements from yesterday, basically. And he basically fucks it up again. He's like, oh, yeah, it wasn't my finest hour. So he defends his statements, essentially. He's just like, oh, yeah, I would have worded it differently. He's going to get a pass for this, too. The neoliberals are so fixated on Trump being Hitler that they don't even have time to care about anything else. Bubba Bill could rape somebody else and they wouldn't care. He wouldn't even get Weinstein or Kevin Spacey at that point. He probably wouldn't. He'd probably get a pass. Oh, Trump is worse. His actions affect more people or something. It's like with the Me Too stuff. Bill Clinton accidentally triggered the Me Too people. Now, that movement is a mixed bag in my opinion. On the one hand, it's good to get closure on people who have, seriously harassed a lot of people. You have that one, I can't remember that news anchor that I think has gotten fired now, is like harassing his coworkers. And you have Weinstein, who's like, when it gets up into the double digits of people making roughly the same claim, generally speaking, people are going to be like, yeah, it's a little weird. It's like a Bill Cosby sort of, touches this off. So that's true. At the same time, there is going to be collateral damage, but Bill Clinton is not collateral damage. Look, he had an affair. At the very least, we know he is a philanderer. In some cases, the people about who these claims are made, we don't know anything for certain. With this, we know he at least has affairs. And it's more than one. Everybody knows that. Everyone knew it when he was a fucking governor down in fucking buttfuck Arkansas. Everyone knew then he was a philanderer. Now it's like even more evident. And he claims that he's a victim. And Colbert invites him on to do a do-over. How very, very sweet. Would you have had that same deference if Bill Clinton were a Republican? I'm going to guess not, nor should you. Bill Clinton is a pervert. That's what he is. And it's funny how so many Clinton associates keep killing themselves. I can't remember even her name because I don't fucking care about style really, as you could probably tell. That clothing designer the other day who killed herself. It's like, oh yeah, had ties to one of the few business people who was paying money into some weird Clinton program or something. And it's like, oh yeah, there's a trail of bodies that have been behind the Clintons' career. People who get too close to them seem to often have that happen, like Vince Foster. And I'm sure at some point, if they were ever cornered on these issues, they'd say, oh yeah, someone's out to get us, so they keep killing our friends. It's part of a right-wing conspiracy. That's probably what they would say, and it'd be the most surreal, funny thing ever. Not that people getting assassinated is funny, but, when Vince Foster manages to shoot himself multiple times in the head in order to commit suicide, that is a little bit odd now, isn't it? Yeah, he was really, really thorough. I mean, he was already dead. He still shot himself a couple more times. Now, as far as the corporate left goes, though, you've got to understand. There's a disconnect. This is a symptom, at this point, of the disconnect between the younger, generally, more progressive left and the old corporate neoliberals, of which Clinton is literally number one. Bubba Bill and Hillary are the top neoliberals. Obama's a neoliberal, too. He gets a pass, of course, because as far as we know, he never raped anybody, so he's not really found problematic by the Me Too people so much. As far as Bubba Bill goes, though, he has managed to run afoul of the new left within the party. That's really ripping the Democratic Party apart. I see increasingly less loyalty among the younger left to the Democrats. I think some of them will end up voting Republican out of spite in the midterms. By the way, I don't think there's going to be a blue wave based on the primary results. It looks like the Republicans did fundamentally what they need to do. And we got to talk about Mitch McConnell because he's really thrown a wrench into their plans too. I'll explain a little bit about that later and how funny that is to me and why it's actually justified. And I don't say that as a partisan. As far as Bill Clinton goes, though, why is it that he's getting dragged onto a major TV show in order to do a do-over when he said something so trashy and so backwards? In the most literal sense, I say, like, I'm not a moralist and I'm not part of the Me Too, like, the panic side of the whole thing. But Bill Clinton has a long track record of having these kinds of interactions with people. He has never owned up to it, and he comes out and calls himself a victim, which is something that would be considered totally unforgivable in any other circumstance if it were anyone but Bill Clinton, essentially, or anyone, I suppose, other than a long-term, powerful neoliberal. You know, a Feinstein might get away with it, a Pelosi or someone like that, even though, what's his name there with the stupid glasses? What the fuck, that one, Al Franken. Al Franken didn't get away with it. I think, didn't he resign? Or he's gotten abandoned by the party or something by this point. Or was his name Conyers there? Those people get, basically fucked over. Why should Bill Clinton be able to go on and do a do-over? It's because you're just fixating on Monica Lewinsky rather than the other claims against him. There are half a dozen other people that have alleged misconduct of various kinds. Sexual assault, harassment, groping, and so forth. Other people, those cases are more substantial than the Monica Lewinsky case. Meanwhile, Monica Lewinsky gets bumped from a speaking slot because Bill Clinton's going to show up at some event, and she was hopping mad about that, and even the media couldn't really save the Clintons from that one. They're like, oh yeah, this was bad show. Yeah, bad show. Yes, we invited the person who allegedly harassed you and, boffed you despite the fact that you were a subjugated employee of his while he was the president of the United States. Sorry about that. Yeah, we thought he was more important is basically what it boils down to. They're closing rank because they so desperately, at this point, they're covering for him because of the midterms. They don't want the Democrats to look because they're trying to cast Trump and the Republicans' office. They're bad for women. They hate women. They want to rape women and keep you barefoot and pregnant in the kitchen and stuff. Becomes harder to do that when the top Democrat, other than Obama himself, comes out and says something like this. It becomes very, very difficult, and the damage is already done. It already went totally viral. But the Colbert apology tour thing isn't going to go viral. Nobody really cares about it so much, except in the context of, hey, another fumbled attempt at really explaining himself. Oh, wasn't my finest moment. This wasn't my finest hour, says Bubba Bill. Okay, yeah. Oh, it was just you misspoke. What you really meant to say was I apologize so much, Monica. He's never going to apologize. That would be an admission of wrongdoing. It's not in the Clintons' MO to do such a thing. So yeah, I thought it was disgraceful. It's funny how the pink hat people aren't calling for Colbert to be taken off air for apologizing for Bubba Bill, basically. They should, though. If you're not hypocrites, if you want any consistency, you should be demanding that his sponsors abandon his show for platforming a rapist, essentially. By the same token as any of these other people. That's about all. Peace out.